So once your car is completely finished and you've got headlights, tail lights, windows, fenders, and the axle holes, you're ready to put the two halves together. It's good to check it first to make sure there's no errors. It's a lot easier to fix mistakes now when it's only half a car. So to do that, you can run a program under Tools and Solid Inspector. If you don't see it there, you'll have to install it, and there's a separate video for how to do that on my website. And what Solid Inspector does is it checks your car for any mistakes. And what you want to see is just 3 errors. Right now, it's checking to see if there's any openings or holes in your car, and right now there is a big mistake. The car is cut in half. So that's fine. If it says 3 surface borders, that is just because we have only half a car, so there's the 2 axle openings and the opening on the entire side. If there were other things listed, a lot of times you might have a glitch somewhere in your fender. Maybe one of your lights or your grill might not have been drawn correctly. They would be bright red like this, and you could work on fixing that. I'll have a separate video on how to fix some of the common mistakes, but in this case we're ready to go ahead. So to put the two halves together, first we need to select your entire car. You can either triple click on it with 3 fast clicks, kind of like a double click but with an extra, or you can just drag a box around your car. But you need to make sure you get the entire car inside the box. And then we're going to copy and paste. To copy, you just press Control C and nothing happens. But then when you press Control V, you'll paste a copy of the car. Now it's important that you don't put them together yet. Obviously that wouldn't quite work because they're facing the same direction. So leave a little gap in between and then just click on the ground. And what we need to do with this is flip it to the other side. So you can do that by right clicking on it, and there's a selection for flip along, and right now we want to flip along the red direction because this is the red axis. And now you can see I've got the 2 sides of my car. If you just click somewhere on the body of the car and try to line them up, it's very easy to overlap them and hook them up incorrectly. That can be really a pain to fix. So it's really important when you move the 2 halves together that you go from the same spot on one side and connect it over to the same spot on the other side. So I like to pick a really obvious spot, like the front corner of the car here, and with 1 half selected, I'm going to I'll put the mouse, again with the move tool, I'll put the mouse right on the corner where it says endpoint and try to move it over to the other spot where it says endpoint again. Sometimes you may have to actually kind of move it in steps if you're kind of a little ways away. So you may have to first move it back. In this case that would be along the green axis. So I want it to say on green axis and kind of move the car back. And then maybe get it a little bit closer with the red axis. So now I'm going to move it straight across on red axis. And then once you've got it pretty close, you can zoom in and again move it from one endpoint over to the other endpoint. So I'm going to put the mouse on the corner and click and drag and snap it together. Now once you have the 2 halves together, you can just click with the arrow tool, the select tool, somewhere in the background to deselect this half of the car. And then you want to kind of double check and make sure everything's lined up. Remember, dark lines in SketchUp are bad. So if your connection like this is kind of a darker, thicker line, you're probably going to need to go through and do a little bit of work connecting them together. You can do that with just the line tool. And if I redraw from an endpoint to an endpoint, you'll see it made that one thin, and it actually fixes the lines above and below. So to do this a little bit faster, I go through and I skip one line, fix the line in the middle, and that'll fix the one before it and after it. Once you've redrawn the lines, then you can erase them and take them off. If you try to erase a line that you haven't redrawn yet, it'll put a big hole in your car. On a curved surface, there's actually a bunch of lines, even though you don't see them. If you go to View, Hidden Geometry, you can see the lines a little bit better. And so again, if I draw this one, and then skip this one and draw this one, you can kind of get through it. And it'll take maybe a minute or so to kind of work your way around your car. I'm going to turn hidden geometry back off. And then once the line is thin, then you can erase it. So that's how you put the two halves together.